Good to Larry.
What's that?
Got him drinking.
Welcome to the episode of the Impel Fort Podcast. I'm your host, Leon, and this is my co-host Renee, my boy Larry, and KP.
Yeah.
Y'all see how I cut him off talking? Yeah. What's going on?
What's going on, family?
What's going on?
It's Monday.
And look, this episode is brought to you by Impel Fort Merch. Go to impelfortmerch.com, impelfortmerch.com, all things Impel Forward.
Get 1, 2, 3, or 10.
Mm-hmm. So we
Also,
got a lot of. Go ahead.
Is there a discount code? Did we hear about a discount?
Well, by the time they see
listen, he charged me full price with the tariffs.
Look, by the time they see this episode, the discount might be gone, but I might put it back up there. So the promo code, the promo code right now is China. I don't know if it's by the time they see this, but that's the promo code. The promo code is China.
Oh, Trump
will be
proud. Trump will be proud.
That's the promo code.
Goodness.
The promo
25%?
25% off. 25% off. I had to put China because they all in the news. Everybody
listen.
Well,
China letting the U.S. have it right now.
They putting it on notice.
But
they trolling the hell out of the U.S.
Oh,
but
my
people
goodness.
should have known that already. I don't know.
They hold the leverage. They got the leverage.
You know, it's crazy. Yeah. They didn't have real access to like TikTok and social media because they had so many regulations and everything around it. So when the tariff wars started, right, this trade war, China said all bets are off. Y'all get all the access to all the social medias because they wasn't on Instagram. They wasn't on TikTok like that. They weren't on Facebook making YouTubes and all that. Now they making YouTube. They doing group packages to fly over there, right?
That's crazy.
You want to know where the Louis Vuitton Gucci factory is? They're saying, hey, we can do a group. You just get here and we'll pick you up at the airport and take you and give you a tour of the factories where you can shop.
People ain't doing that though.
People are doing it.
Give it
Are
time.
you crazy? I'm in like 6 luxury groups. They're already doing price and packaging deals with the agents in the group. They're doing it.
Listen,
they've been doing that forever with hair.
I know
The
people
hair happens.
I know people been going over. I know somebody who go over there all the time, but most people, for the most part, most people ain't gonna do. They just on social media talking.
Are you crazy? They pay.
Yeah, I'm crazy.
$500 for a handbag that they purchase and $5,000 over here for when they can buy a $2,000 ticket and go over there and get 50 of the same bags.
Why like you telling me something I don't know?
I'm just saying you're saying they're not going to do it.
I'm talking about for the most part. Most people are not going to do that. I mean, it's going to be a whole lot of people who's not going to do that. It's going to be a hand full of people who's going to do that. Most people.
Are you talking? I'm going to be looking at flights to China and see how much it skyrocketed from here.
And listen, let me tell you something about doing that. You 92%. They're already looking for a reason to cash y'all down. You go over there and see how easy it's going to be to get back in here.
I know, right? I know, right?
I
ain't going over there.
You go over there if you want to.
But I do know somebody who go over there quite often.
Yeah, but the stakes have changed.
I'm not going.
Yeah, the stakes have changed. This administration has subverted the rule of law. There is no more law.
Yeah. There is no more law.
He's going to run rush hour. It doesn't matter. So whatever you can think of sinister, when she calling us, like, they not letting me back in. So I told
I saw a TikTok with an Asian guy talking about he works at one of the wig factories, right? And he was like, he was talking, he had on a wig, and he was like, I mean, if you want to talk to me, and he put the hair behind his ear. He was like, ladies, come see me. They all the breads, they putting everybody on blast. They know what you want.
Oh yeah.
They know
China's
what you
like, y'all want. China say, y'all want the smoke? We make that too. Come get it.
I'm gonna tell you how they can really bring the U.S. They can break this U.S. down to till they can break it real down.
Mm-hmm.
Send the products to a country that doesn't have tariffs or low tariffs, like Australia, and then have a go-between from there to mail it to the United States. Game over.
Aren't they doing? They rerouted. I guess how the U.S. gets beef. They some of the meat from overseas or whatever they were getting it from another country, and that country, China, went in and made a better bid than what the U.S. was paying them for the beef, and now they're going with China. So what China's doing is buying up all of the things that U.S. depends on, all of the goods and services and the routes that U.S. depends on to get goods and services, buying them up so that we won't get it.
Yeah, I see them doing that. I know they did that with a lot of consumable goods like honey and chocolate and stuff. They rerouted through Taiwan for cheaper transport. That's crazy though. But hey, we're talking about global business now. That's wild.
Tickets to China. Starting at the lowest.
We'll holler at you when you get back, if you get back.
Starting at $1,000, KP. $1,000.
Listen, Renee. Unlike what Leon is saying, Leon will get this when I'm using this reference. There are gonna be some Frank Lucases that go over there straight to the source.
I know.
And get them things for, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's gonna be some Frank Lucases that go over there now.
Yeah.
Ship mine. I ain't going.
Well, you only got to go one time. Remember Frank? He said, "Hey, I ain't got to come back over here, right? We got this relationship."
Listen,
but look, before we get to this list, Renee has put together.
Okay,
I sent it to you. She sent it to us late.
Yeah,
I sent it to you late. But anyway,
he already beat me to it.
I got. So jumping back to where we was at last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before I don't know Larry, but I know Renee and KP. Y'all got the draws and the panties in a bunch.
What?
When I brought up the Obama situation with my boy from New Era said, right? So that led me to thinking and wanting to ask more questions.
About Obama didn't do anything for the black community. Okay.
Yeah. So that led me to ask more questions. I'm gonna start with you, Renee. How long have you been voting?
How long have I been voting? Wow. Since I was able to.
Since you were able to. And always Democrat.
For the most part, yeah.
For the most part.
I mean, I grew up in a blue state. So, that's pretty much, I've always been there for the people. Plus my mother, she's the volunteer for the Rainbow Coalition under Jesse Jackson. So, it's always been in me.
Okay. So what about you, KP?
It's a bit of I'm going to do a long, short story. I voted, of course, I was eligible to vote in 92, and I was working at a job with some good old boys. I'm 19 years old, don't know shit from Shinola, don't know politics, don't know culture, don't know anything. And I remember these non-melanated leaders, the boss where I work, gave me a list of who to go vote for. Now that I'm drawing back on that story, they gave me that list to go and vote for these people, probably with some Republicans, but because I was young and didn't care about voting, I didn't go and vote. But I remember that I was given a list from people that don't look like us and say, hey, this is who you go vote for. And I remember that list, and I never really went and did it. And I always remember that. And then, so that was about 95, somewhere up in there. And then I went off from the scene, not voting until 2008. From probably 95, where I didn't go vote where I was supposed to, I didn't go do it. I first voted in the presidential election with Obama in 2008. Oh,
so you down with me then? Okay. So you down with me?
But there's a reason.
Yeah. Well, I had a reason too. Okay. What about you, Larry?
Nah, I don't vote.
You don't vote?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nah. And it's not because, for me, I don't think voting is the issue. It's the belief in the system that's the issue. And voting seems we've somehow been conditioned to think that voting is the only way to fix everything. And I just want to believe in something else. Okay. We gotta have something else.
So Renee, what? Okay, I asked a couple of different people. I'm kind of including Obama, but excluding him for a reason. So the Democratic president before Obama was Clinton, and then before Clinton was KP. He's doing something back there. Before Clinton, it was
I got him.
before Clinton, it was it was before Clinton. Carter. And so after Clinton, it was Obama. Mm-hmm. And after Obama, it was Biden. So my question is for you, Renee, what, I guess between all those Democrats, what specifically would you want to see changed or laws passed, since we can't say, or we always say we can't pass laws just for Black people? What laws would you like to see seen passed or done that benefits all, but I guess helps Black people?
Well, I mean, benefits all, but helps Black people. So it's still like you're still trying to exclude.
I'm saying that because we always say when it comes to Obama, he couldn't have did nothing just for Blacks. So I'm saying what you know.
Well, I would say affordable, better or more affordable healthcare. I think if we looked outside of countries like Canada and Europe, you know, and look at their model, how they have set up where, you know, I know their sales tax is very high and it's probably a contribution, but they don't pay for healthcare, right? Mm-hmm. And they're still thriving. You don't hear too much about, you know, diabetes and all of those issues in Canada and Europe with their people. Even I would say in China, they have better healthcare than we do. So I think I would say for the most part, better and more affordable healthcare. And that targets, to me, that's better with targets more Black people. It would benefit more Black people because of some of the health issues that we carry, such as sickle cell, right? Diabetes, thyroid issues, high blood pressure, obesity, right? Those are some of the major issues that, fibroids in Black women were high, ovarian cysts. If we have better and more affordable health care, then I think that our quality of life and our health will be better.
Okay. What about you, KP?
Mine is on those lines with affordable health care, because the history behind the health care is they've been wanting to do universal health care, and they wanted to do it early 1900s with Woodrow. They kind of like, no, because Black people going to get it. Then Truman tried to do it in 47. Like, nah, Black people going to get it. And then eventually they were like, because the study showed that how can we eliminate that race? And that's through healthcare, not allowing them to have access to healthcare. So and then eventually they did it in the 70s where they allowed Medicare, but they allowed it. But what they did was they said, okay, how can we still keep them away from it? So they gave us Medicare, but they put a 20% deal on it where you had to pay 80%. You had to come up with 20% of your health care. And the premise behind that was to prevent us from even seeking health care, because we should not have been able to afford the 20%. So knowing that was strategic, Renee is correct, and we need that. What I think we need, what I would like to see, legislation and policies, I would like to see it involved with two parts: education. And education is, let's do what you said you was going to do. If we're separate but equal, Plessy versus Ferguson, that ruling, hey, y'all separate but equal, or give us equal funding. Give us the funding where we can go back into our own schools, where we can have our own, where our kids could be educated by people that look like them. And we set the course and curriculum to teaching our kids what they need to be taught from K through 12. And that will change the whole paradigm of everything that we know today. Because in that curriculum, it will involve, hey, KP, you and Larry are brothers, you don't hurt him, all right? You fight for him. And you teach that at 5 years and 12 years, by the time they're in high school, they brothers, they know not to kill each other. You teach them, the education curriculum should involve some type of Africana studies, some Africana framework, along with some what it takes to be a village, and still learn American history, but learn Blacks in history, not Black history. And I think if we allocate funding for that, and also funding for farming, meaning that allowing us to have the ability to buy land and cultivate that land, and have education set up so where Blacks can go to some of these HBCUs not there's a course, but the agriculture, like Southern is an A&M college, Florida is an A&M. You have North Carolina A&T. A lot of those A&T, those are agriculture schools, and they allow education for the common man, you and I, to learn how to cultivate and farm our own farmland through education, through a program that's funded by policies that allow Black people to get that so that they can do for self and feed themselves. And then also having access to resources to get funding for businesses so that we can build our own, so that we can thrive within our own community. And so I would like to see policies that gear towards us educating ourselves. Hey, listen, if you keep us separate, fine. We're self-segregate. I'm good with that. That way, because I would like for our kids to be taught by Renee and Larry. That's who I want, because I know that failing student is just not, he's going to get yanked up. And like, no, you got to be better. You will not fail this test. You will not, teachers that's going to care. And so if we have funding for that and paying them a living wage along with that, so that they can enjoy and be proud that they're teachers and principals. And that, I would like to see that in some type of policies, those things. Yeah,
I think that's dope. Yeah.
Anything there to that?
I just leave us the hell alone. That's it.
Yeah.
Now, so what? Okay, so my next question is, because I don't know, I'm just getting y'all insight, just trying to learn more and understand more of why
I like this.
We go so hard for the Democrats. So I'm just trying to learn, when has the Democratic Party, or if y'all know of it, ever had the majority of the Senate in the House? Not even, I guess, with Clinton or Carter, or I know Obama didn't. What's your guy name? The last one, Democratic president, Biden.
Biden?
Yeah. So who has Democratic ever had the majority Senate in the House?
They only had it for 2 years. They've had it. They don't keep it.
Yeah.
Just like Republicans, they'll have it, but they don't keep it. These midterms come, this next midterms come, even though he has a House in the Senate, he won't have the House in the Senate if things stay the course and there is no irregularities in voting, and there's not a mass campaign for voter suppression, because voter suppression cost this election this time around, because you had 90 million eligible voters that did not show up.
Right. Yeah. I think at one point Biden had a majority of, Congress, because Hakeem Jeffries, right? Wasn't he the majority speaker?
He became the House Speaker, right. And he had Schumer. Schumer became, instead of being the Senate minority, he became the Senate majority.
Senate majority.
Right.
All right. Okay.
That's how he got infrastructure. That's how he got the Build Back Better plan passed. That's how he got infrastructure passed. And there was one other thing he got passed that that you can see with our roads and stuff like that. So he had it, and he got some stuff passed.
But then Mitch McConnell ran right on back in there and
ran right up. Yeah.
I see, and to what y'all saying, that's my whole thing. Like, when I always use the term, we going in circles. It's like about Larry, kind of like what Larry said, and I asked another guy. I asked a few people about the same things I'm asking y'all. One dude said, we voting for hope. And I'm like, we're voting for hope. I mean,
there's hope in there.
there is some
voting for hope.
There's definitely hope in the prayer, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then, and then when I asked y'all about the Senate and the House, it's like, if we do have a Democratic president who's white, I don't want to say nothing about Obama. I'm gonna leave him out because if now I'm just saying that because people always say, well, he couldn't have did this
because
he's just black, so he couldn't did this.
Yeah.
Well, so Biden didn't do a lot either. I mean, he did what he could, but he couldn't do it because he was,
exactly.
That's my point. So, but he's white. So I'm saying, like, if you have these white presidents in there who's Democrat and they can't do nothing either.
Well, Biden passed more laws than Obama did.
Yeah.
And he provided more seats in the Supreme Court than Obama was able to. So He did a lot more. People just don't realize it because it doesn't directly benefit you. Like the Trump check didn't have Biden's name on it, right? Even though they were still getting COVID funds when Biden was in office. He didn't wait to have his name specifically put on it because it was through Treasury. So he just let it go. He didn't care. But
and that's part of the Democrats' part. That's part of their problem is their messaging and them spiking the ball. Democrats don't spike the ball, which what I don't like. Trump will spike the ball on a lie, and he will, because he knows that the lie can run around the world 7 times before the truth can get up out of bed. He knows that, so he'll just do lies because he knows.
Just do lies.
Okay.
Well, now you got a point, man. I think they just kind of singled Obama out because that's low hanging fruit.
Right.
For him being a black president, they thought he was going to swoop in with a cape.
And not only that, he's a president that not only black people can attack, and no one's going to come to defense other than other black people, and white people can 100% attack, and not one white person is going to actually wholeheartedly defend his policies or defend what he did. So he is an easy, soft target. And because who's going to defend him?
Yeah.
Right.
He done been out of office for a good bit now, and he's still in the conversation. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just in general, just.
People still ask the same question, like it can't be Google. What did Obama do for black people? What did Biden do for people? I mean, they still ask, and it's. I mean,
Renee, I try to not even. I got to the point at my age. I don't even try to answer it. I know that you went through a whole litany of it to prove to Leon Trump that what was done, but I just kind of like tune that out. Like,
what was done?
Because you know why? Because those same people, not you, Leon, the same people that always say, "Well, what did Obama do for black people, and what did Biden do for black people?" Never ask the question, "What has the Republican in the last 30 years done for the black community?" They never ask that question.
Good question.
So
besides pardon a few rappers of their favorite rappers.
I understand that. Yeah. And that is, that speaks to, it's a slap in our face when you are an awakened human being and you realize that they will pardon rappers, but no one else, because they think and they know that rappers speak to the white community for the black community. And we are conscious enough, black folks like Ice Cube, Kodak Black don't represent me. He doesn't speak for me. Yeah. But it's a way to have white guilt subvert itself underneath itself and say, well, we pardon Kodak Black, we pardon Lil Wayne. We don't give a fuck because they don't represent us, because they do not speak for us. But only in the black community is a rapper and a comedian the spokesperson for all of our community, and you'll never get that in the Jewish community. You'll never get that in the Asian community. It's like, so I come back. That's why it's a slap in the face.
Yeah.
Malcolm X said our entertainers are not leaders.
Right. Not to mention, what's his name? Kwame Kilpatrick. Didn't he pardon him? So he
pardoned him too. Exactly. Yeah. But he's strategic with his pardons. He's very strategic with them. But he's not gonna pardon Angela Davis so that she can come back.
Kwame Kilpatrick bankrupted a whole state. And people are listening to him. That's crazy to me. But I mean, do as you may. But how long did it take Detroit to get to where they are now since Kwame Kilpatrick? Let's be honest, years. Yeah. Then he got another chance and still fumbled the bag when he was in Atlanta and got put back in jail.
Whenever they can find a bootlicking tap dancer, cue in Eric Adams, those are the people that they're going to pardon. Those are the people that they're going to protect, because they're going to say the things and they're going to spread so much vile information, and they know that a lot of black people that they're going to listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So out of all that, is what I get is neither Democrats or Republicans are going to do anything for blacks.
No, that's not entirely true. The reason why you would have someone like me that will support the Democratic Party on policy and not the Democratic policy, because you got to understand that overwhelmingly the Republican Party and the Democrat Party, they are white. Mm-hmm. However you look at it, they're white. Mm-hmm. The only difference is with the Democrat Party, they're the soft white nationalists versus the hardcore white nationalists. And at least you can petition the soft white nationalists to move a black agenda through. You may not get all of it, but you may get some of it. Mm-hmm. With those Republicans that are hard right now, you cannot petition them for nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the difference. That's why you got to remember, like Warren Water, black people should not have any permanent party or any permanent friends, only permanent interests. That's what should be our platform. We don't have no permanent party, no permanent friends, only permanent interests. And we come together as a collective. All right, these are our interests, and this is what we're going to petition this Democratic Party. We're going to give you our vote, but this is what we want in exchange. We do not have that fair exchange with the Republican Party.
No.
Yeah. But do we get it from the Democratic Party? Things that
you get more than yes. I mean, there are a lot of listen, this is how you know when you follow politics today and you know what the Democrats have done for black people. You know how you know it? Because as soon as the Republicans get in there, they roll it all back.
Yeah.
That's
what I'm saying. So they do something to roll it back.
The only thing that they can't roll back. Well, so here's the deal. It's definitely a shell game. You know,
that's my whole position with it.
Monty. The only difference is playing the 3-card Monty. The only thing that helps us is things that are cemented in the Constitution or the law that are about rights. Right. Like you have the Civil Rights Bill, you have the fair housing, you have voting rights. Those are cemented. Those can't be rolled back without 2/3 of the states, and you have a 60 majority in the Senate. There is so much that has to happen to roll back the 13th, 14th Amendment, the 15th Amendment, and it is. So those things are cemented in those. So those things are giving us the rights to move about the country like we are now. So in order for them to eliminate those things, it'll take an act of Congress.
We've gotten a lot of benefits by association so far, you know, even though we've had to fight and struggle for what we've gotten now. And shit, to be honest, Leon, to your question, like when it comes down to, you know, what do Democrats do for us specifically? I always ask the person, well, what are you doing, you know, specifically for your community? Where are you volunteering at? You know, what are you
or what do you want from them?
Right.
What do you want? Because people
how are you actively sending that message so that it can be received?
Yeah. Because I'm at an age now where I don't fuck with the complaining, you know.
Yeah.
There's two types of complaints. There's a valid complaint and an invalid complaint. An invalid complaint is something you can change. You just complain about it to be heard. A valid complaint is I can't change the weather. It's snowing the hell outside, and I don't like that, but I can't change it. But if you're complaining about something in your community and you want to get something done, put some time and energy and research into it. Too many people are what they call them armchair referees, and they watch the game. Now I would have did something different if I would have did that. No, well, get your ass up and go do it then.
That's my thing is that when I hear people say, well, what did the president do for, you know, black people? And then you ask them what they want, they don't understand how the law works. Yeah. So they're saying, well, I can't get affordable housing. Okay. Yeah. But in your state, did you know that your state received money from Treasury to help you?
Right. Exactly. And it's always something like that.
And there's you know, there's so many first-time home buyers initiatives and free money and incentives and all of these things. It's almost like a lot of people, black people in particular, they want things just dropped at their door.
Correct.
And that's one of the biggest points of that Republicans have against black people is that they feel like we're always waiting for a handout. And we give them that every time we ask, well, what did the president do for the black people? How come the groceries are low?
Yeah.
Again, these are all your majority of complaints are at your doorstep. So are you going to the special elections? Are you voting for, not just because the mayor is black, that doesn't mean anything. What's their mission? Do they align with your values that fit what you want and need for your household? And they're not doing that. You can't expect a president that's over the world to do something that directly affects your household. He's not making the eggs cheaper. We just saw that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not happening. Right?
Yeah. Agreed.
So anybody who says, well, you don't do nothing for Black people, it's always something at their doorstep, but they're forgetting that we also have state representatives that we should be pressuring to do those things as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's your local election is where the sausage is made. That's where you impact. That's where you can directly impact what's going on in your community.
Yeah,
at the state level, at the federal level.
They don't even dig that deep into it.
No one goes to the town halls. I hear complaints. The school bus they're not picking up on Thursday. So they're complaining, right? In some of the Facebook groups, but it's a whole discord of complaints, but nobody's saying, hey, I got a van. Or I can I'll come get your kids or whatever, and then you get them next Thursday, and you get them next Thursday. Set up something, but it'll be a whole 125 comments Discord on how bad Durham County bus system is, but nobody's applying for the bus because the next comment is, does anybody know who's hiring? I don't know. The bus you was just complaining about, Durham Go Bus, Durham County School Bus. Go learn how to drive one. That's the job, and it's a bus to get up at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm paying for them, so now I'm mad at y'all because I'm paying property taxes. I'm paying taxes, hoping, school tax, all the tax, and you complaining about a bus.
But it's facts. Yeah, I agree.
So, again, we need a resolution, but things aren't going to drop at your doorstep. Leon, I don't know if you've seen it, but I would encourage you to watch the movie The 13th by Ava DuVernay. And I think
I've been meaning to watch that.
And I feel like it would relate to some of the things and questions that you inquire about. Also, some of the issues that they talk about is, men in prison, recidivism, and all private prisons and everything. And I highly suggest that it's a wonderful, wonderful documentary.
Definitely, that's a good recommendation.
That's been on my list for a minute.
That'll really listen. She walks you through the chronology of prison school, the prison pipeline, and how the infrastructure of prison changed from the 70s to now, how it just grew with Black bodies, and you will get to see that. And
prisons, and I mean everything. It talks about Habitat for Humanity.
She goes through
it is a lot of. It's a lot of things, but I definitely encourage you to.
I've heard of that, but that's. What I'm saying is I don't know if y'all understand what I'm saying as far as the going in circle part.
Well, let me.
No, I do.
It talks about that.
That's what my main question is: what is there anything that can be done? Like Larry said, he don't vote, right? Like,
right. So let me.
I had one guy say we voting for hope.
The thing is that when it comes election time, that's where everybody does their tap dancing to get our vote. But the problem we have in our communities is enforcing our votes, enforcing the accountability behind why should we give you this vote? Not just because you talk a good talk, but it's the fact that when people get our votes and go run off with it, we'll never see them again. We get catfish every time. Yeah. So we need to have a stronger
accountability.
Way stronger accountability. We need to ask for something like something tangible, something real that comes back to our communities.
We
something
definitely
that makes a difference.
We missed that boat.
Yeah.
I do believe with the election and the vibe that this election has brought, I think that this is going to be a period in the time where we draw back to community. I think that there's going to be more positive that can come out of this than negative if we draw close together, and because I could see people will be more apt to. I mean, because they're rolling back stuff and we're not even complaining about it, right? And it's not that we don't care; it's just that go ahead, burn it down. Burn it down. And Minister Farrakhan said something. A lot of people were trying to say that, see, Minister Farrakhan support Trump. That's not what he was saying. He was saying in the face of what's going on in this environment of him destroying the FBI, the CIA, all those central intelligence agencies, all the governing bodies that govern our bodies today, he's destroying those entities. And whereas he's destroying them because he was mad because a lot of them DOJ, he's getting rid of DOJ because they sued him. And Elon is getting rid of the, with the FAA, EPA, they're getting rid of all those things. EPA is going to hurt us more than anything. But when you're abolishing when you're going after the FBI and you demolishing them, you getting rid of the FAA, you getting rid of all those things. What's going to happen is it's going to some kind of way benefit us, meaning that you're getting rid of the main thing that tore down a lot of our black leaders was the FBI and the CIA, the surveillance, COINTELPRO. You had all these things going on, and they were specifically targeting black leaders, black movements, black everything. So you get rid of that, and we rise up with our movements again, and you done got rid of those agencies. Now you can't really, you get what I'm saying?
It's a free for all now.
Right.
Kind of what you just said. I heard Jeff Nation say the same thing. He was like, he's big and deep into politics. He was on the radio talking. He was like, I get to a point where now Trump was doing. What else he supposed to be doing away with? Not is it Harriet Tubman?
IRS.
It was something. No, it's another
agency.
No, the black. I don't know.
No, it was
something.
Removing the language with Harriet Tubman.
Yeah, it was something like that. And
they removed it from the website and they reworded it.
Yeah, and Jeff Nation was like, man, it's getting to a point now where he was like, I'm tired of it. I don't care if they. And I think he used the words you said, burn it down, do whatever, take away everything. Because he was like,
we gonna be.
Because he was like, as far as the stretch point and how it makes him feel, he was basically kind of like saying the same thing. Same thing I've been saying.
The problem is one thing that I think white people forget is that black people know how to survive.
That's the thing. We're used to this.
We know how to survive. Have we been spoiled? Yes.
Yeah.
Have we been benefiting off of the fruits of our labor? Because we can't buy things unless we work for it or we've earned it or something of that nature, right? But outside of that, the Amazons and the Ubers and all that, we know how to survive.
We got this.
We know how to make nothing out of something out of nothing.
And I think that's why. Right. And I think, Renee, honestly, I think that's why we're not up in a frenzy when they're rolling back all these things, because we're like, you know what, we've been here. And those that study history know we only get a 12-year window at any case, at any time, at any point in history where we have to roll up our sleeves and go back to work. If you look at just the history of time and when we had thriving times, you only get 12, maybe 15 years of it. And then there's a season that gets ushered in where there's a rollback of all this progression for black folks. It started from 1865 when we were newly freed, and it went to 1877 when they ushered in Reconstruction. So in from 1865 to 1877, you had black people that have just got out of slavery with no language, no education. They got lands, they got banks, they had schools. We erected all kind of things. And then the white nation was like, you know what? There's too much. We need to roll this back. And so you had the Hayes-Tillman Compromise of 1877, which ushered was new Reconstruction. And then right after that, Jim Crow ushered in, and all these other laws. And so we have a period of time. Even you looking at Tulsa. I think Tulsa came into play. Established in 1906, 1921. What was that? 15, 14 years. It was destroyed, right? And you look at Miles Bayou, you look at, Rosewood, all those only went about, they didn't go, those communities wasn't 50 years and 75 years of thriving. Only 15 plus years.
Yeah.
Before or Wilmington, 1898, that coup started in 1892. So by 1898, they had done already ran all the
black people out.
They ran them out. So it don't, and then now we're at another.
And then they kept it out of the library records.
They kept it out of
so they couldn't. Records. Yeah, they rewrote the history.
And so we're used to these setbacks. I think that we're built for this. I hate that we have to be built for it, but I think that's the reason why we're steady at the wheel. Like right now, the car is crashing, and we're the driver, and everybody's looking at us like, why are they so calm? Because we've been here before.
Yeah.
And another thing Jeff Nation said, I think we all said, you said, Renee, KP, somebody said, he said, we're just going to have to teach our kids that's coming up about the Black history.
That's it. That's so the thing that we have on our side that our ancestors before us didn't have is we have the power of technology. See, they can't cut technology off because they will suffer. The infrastructure of this country will suffer if you cut off technology. Mm-hmm. So the fact that we have technology and we can go to TikTok and start a Hillman University, or you can go on TikTok and learn about Colfax massacre, the German Coast uprising in New Orleans, where slaves were those different revolts and stuff, or New Africa Town, and you learn about those things that are happening. You can go on TikTok. If you go on TikTok and go down a wormhole, and if that's in your algorithm, you're gonna learn so much Black history. And it's a lot of white people telling it.
Yeah, he said do that now, but before they try to take it off those Google and sites like that.
They can try, but it's technology.
Yeah. He did say that too.
They will be cutting off their nose to spite their face. Now, will the whites do it? I've seen them be sinister. I've seen them do it.
Yeah.
But I've also seen the original melanated man fight through all of that still.
I gotta be honest, man. Like all of that, it works in our favor if we take advantage of it. And what I mean by that is nowadays, so many young Black people in the community, I feel like they're torn. Like you either for the Black community or you just don't care. You don't give a shit. Right. You're distracted by everything else, and you're not pro-Black, and I don't mean pro-Black like Dr. Umar, but pro-Black as in you want to progress your people. You want your people to go forward. So many people don't even understand like just the basis of Black people in America. American slavery is older than America itself, and people don't even know that. Like
when you look at that timeline, Larry, isn't that crazy? We've been enslaved more than we've been free.
Yeah. Yeah,
when you add slavery, the time for slavery, along with Jim Crow.
Yeah, the timeline is crazy.
Jim Crow ended in like 74, 70. You know what I mean? And so I was born, so 50 years. We've had 50 years of freedom. So I was born in 74. So if you think about that, we've been more in bondage and enslaved more than we've been free.
And I think that's one of the things that kind of keeps, I always say, Black American is a very young culture. And it really is. And I really have to distinguish between African culture and Black American culture. They're technically two different things. Because there was a reason for that. Black Americans had their African connection, beaten and bred out of them. That was purposeful for them to adopt whatever European standards or whatever that came in.
Correct.
I mean, when the first slave ship, the White Lion, I think, came off the coast of Virginia back in like August 1619.
Jamestown, Virginia. Yeah. Yep.
1619. Like, and what? How old is America? When is America's birthday? July 4th.
It's 1776.
That's like over 150 years. So they don't even realize, like, when you connect the dots of like, damn, like racism is deeper in America than people actually know, like the depth of racism. And I get it now. I understand, like, because racism is just, it's not just a mindset, it's an actual belief system. And when you look at how it's taught, like indirectly, like for Black Americans, we're taught like, oh, we were trafficked over here as slaves to build the country, and we were servants and fought through Jim Crow, civil rights, all that stuff. But then when you look at how white American history is portrayed as their ancestors came here, settled the land.
They went settled the land and
colonized the savages. They declared independence, and like they set themselves up as the rulers. And then that's still that belief system is still passed down as, oh, this is ours.
To us too.
You know what I mean?
Larry, don't forget that the colonization of the mental mind was done with us as well.
100%.
And but I often say this, and a lot of scholars say this, and I want us to get away from this. If you start your history off at 1619, you've already lost. Right. So so this goes back to what I was saying. If education is key, if they give us the funding to educate ourselves, we're going to be very, very so if we start our history off with 1619, you already lost.
We're in
because
trouble.
they did not capture slaves off the west coast of Africa. They captured carpenters, astronomers, scientists, chemists, healers. You got holistic healing. You got griot tellers. You have all of these different things. So that's not what was captured. Mm-hmm. So we should change our native tongue that we have now to say that our history started back on the continent of Africa and not Jamestown, Virginia, when those 20 or 19 so slaves, like you just mentioned, Larry. And I'm not coming at you. I'm just saying that I had to turn my thinking from my history doesn't start there, because whatever, like this blackness that we have here, we came over here with this. Mm-hmm. This black excellence, the fact that we can sit here on this podcast and talk freely, we came over here with this.
Yeah. Right? And like you're saying, from the beginning, it's so important, because the way that they break it down, this America has two histories. It's white American history, and then there's everybody else. You know what I'm saying? You just kind of get in where you fit in, but you fall under white American history. And like Black America it came out of the survival of white American history. And that's one thing a lot of people don't understand. Like even the way we eat.
Well, that's what they want to continue to teach.
Yeah. You know, when they gave us pig scraps and we make a meal out of it. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like I said, this is why I'm key on education.
Yeah.
All of our thought leaders, all our leaders that we would utter out of our mouths, that I've seen time, A. Shahiri, the B.R. Rustins, the A. Philip Randolph, all of these people were taught by Black teachers. They were in Black segregated schools. Mm-hmm. And the reason why they can move through the country with so much vigor and not feel inferior to their white counterparts is because they were taught that they are, not that they're better, but it's like, now I'm just as good, if not better.
Yeah.
And so when they were in their fighting for the different things that we got today, from the Thurgood Marshalls to the Charles Hamilton Houstons, all of these guys, and even Anna Hedgeman, all of these beautiful Black women and Ida B. Wells, they were educated by Black educators.
Yes.
And so that's why we lost the ability to fight the way we fight.
Agreed. Now that's huge. That's
why we lost.
Yeah.
Education.
That's why I say education.
Leon, what I think to add to what is the solution, it's not only just us enforcing our votes and asking for something tangible for our communities, but I always say that these people have built a pipeline of power that they've maintained, and that starts like from the ground level all the way up to the highest. Okay. We talk about law enforcement and attorneys, DAs, governors, mayors, senators, congressmen, doctors, CEOs. They used to joke about the Klan rallies back in the day having that type of mixture, but it was for real. It was 100%. Like you would have the police chief would be there with a hood on, or you would have the town doctor.
Well, he's a grand wizard.
You feel me? Yeah. Like that's how they built that pipeline of power, but we don't have that in our favor. And I think that is the one thing we would need to build if we want to have a strong foundation. They have a whole bias foundation built for them.
I think we missed the mark on that, guys, to be honest. And it goes back to the term that I brought into the situation, that epigenetics. Epigenetics tells us if you rise up to be the next Fred Hampton, your ass is going to be dead. If you rise up to be the next Mega Evers, you want to have this campaign getting people out to vote and registering people to vote, then there's going to be somebody, Baron Beckwith, that's going to shoot you in your back.
Well, on that note, KP, I think my boy was right. We voting for hope. It's because like you say, somebody rise up and they shut it down.
Education.
But, hold on, Renee. Let me plug this in. Look, this hat was made in China, y'all. Go to impelforwardmerch.com, impelforwardmerch.com. You will have some items that was made in China, impelforwardmerch.com.
Good quality.
Views expressed on this program is not reflective of it.
All right, Renee, let's go with you talking about the
education, right? How do we feel about Linda McMahon, the U.S. Secretary of Education? and her not really understanding what AI is.
AI versus A1.
A1.
Listen, man, give me the A. I'll take that A1 education.
Yo, KP, why didn't somebody, the people that was on stage with her, why didn't they? Either they didn't know, they wasn't sure what she was talking about, or they just wanted to let her run on.
They knew. They was like, it's more embarrassing to pull a coattail and say, put their hand over the mic. It's AI, not AI.
Yeah. We're gonna do that behind.
Crazy. Imagine that clip. How viral would that clip go?
Yeah, that was wild, bro.
But it's still. Listen.
You never know the interviewer's intentions, right? So they probably was like, "Oh, this gonna go viral anyway." So
it's gonna go viral anyway. But to answer that, Leon, without jumping before my other panelists here, listen, man, we're a nation of, and I shouldn't say we because I'm not part of this nation. I'm a citizen of the world. Man, listen, this country is a bastardization of mediocrity. Mm-hmm. And the reason why you have all these MAGA people with no teeth up in their head talking about jobs and talking about this is because, and feeling left behind, because they never had to compete. Mm-hmm. See, 30 years ago when we got ushered in and we were young lads and we were coming up, we were taught that we had to compete. We were taught that we had to work twice as hard to go half as far. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Toby wasn't taught that he had to compete because everything was given to him. Everything was given to his dad, his grandfather, and his great-grandfather. So he never learned to compete. Fast forward today, all those jobs that they used to have, we have now, right? And they're high-paying jobs. And we do them to the utmost. And when we look at them, we kind of look at them and smirk. I could see me and Renee in our meetings looking at them because we know that they're a staple of mediocrity. Like, you only got that job because of who you are. You are mediocre at best. Mm-hmm. And so we get to see this mediocrity play out, and we laugh about it, but we should be crying because that mediocre person is a decision maker. And so to them, being mediocre is not an embarrassment or a shame. They welcome because you may see me as mediocre, I see me as white. And as long as I got this skin,
superior. But I see me as superior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I get caught. I get in trouble in a lot of circles when I say that, but I have scientific evidence proving that we are. Mm-hmm. So, even the Igbo tribe in Nigeria is those kids test higher than any other in the nation, right? That's the Igbo tribe in Nigeria. Everything that you want, everything that is the best is in the continent. The tallest people, where are they? They're the Mandinka. They're the top. The shortest people. Where you find them? Pygmies. They're in Africa, right? Yep. You're the smartest. You get what I'm saying? It's like, I know where I come from. I'm proud of it.
You know your lineage. Mm-hmm.
I know it. What's yours?
Yeah.
That's good.
That's why they're mediocre. And we're an autocracy where the nation state is ruled by the least of us.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you said that, man, because that brings me back to, it's so ironic how Trump's thing now that he's pushing is, when they getting rid of DEI so they can replace it with the meritocracy system. Mm-hmm. But when you look at things like what Linda McMahon is doing, it's like
where's the merit?
None of Trump's camp has any merit. Trump himself.
Listen, Larry, you know this because you're a man of a certain age.
Yeah.
The merit is not for them, it's for your black ass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. Right.
Yeah, the merit is not for them.
He up there talking about we're gonna, hire the best people completely off merit, and it's like you didn't even get a job off merit. You got it off popularity.
Nepotism.
You got to understand the joke writes themselves. They hire Linda McMahon to be over the Department of Education, to abolish the Department of Education.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Isn't that a joke within itself?
They was abolishing it before they hired her.
Also, not understanding education first.
At all.
No,
I mean, but that's
I think
no
Johanna
different
Hayes did a masterful job of bringing how much there were simple things that Johanna Hayes in that town hall mentioned about Linda McMahon. She didn't know the simplistically things that the Department of Education does, and there are certain programs that are very popular that Linda McMahon didn't even know. Johanna Hayes did a beautiful job of illustrating that.
He's just a placeholder at this point because it was already going downhill.
Mediocrity, brother.
Yeah. I mean, but that's no different than what's his name? The brain surgeon that was over HUD, Trump's first time.
Damn, Ben Carson.
Ben Carson. Yeah, same thing.
Oh my God.
Well, he was over HUD because he was black, and HUD means urban. So we'll take this brain surgeon, right?
Yeah.
Again, the best of us, which is the man is very accomplished. He's he's a little weird. But they said, you know what? We're going to take a black brain surgeon and put him over housing. Yeah, he should be good at that because it's urban.
He destroyed his whole reputation,
just
man.
Like the same, they put another black person over HUD again.
Did you see where Scott Turner was curved by? See, we need to get this podcast where we can start showing like videos of things that we're talking about.
Tell Leon Trump.
Yeah, because Scott Turner, like while we're talking,
what about Trump?
Leon,
you know what I'm saying is to elevate our podcast and to give a little bit more color context. Being able to put some of these things in.
You can't do that. I be telling Larry to get him ready, but Larry's the techie
Larry,
guy.
Listen, you over there with the goddamn podcast.
Let me tell you something.
Listen, you look like you know what to do.
Leon is a certified delegator.
Yeah.
I'm saying, Larry, you look like you know what to do.
Hey, look, Larry showed me how to set up everything and do everything. He's a techie guy. He's a real.
You know, I don't have to know it. I just
a certified delegator. You do this. You do that.
He's invoking. Listen, because he's a Trump supporter, he's invoking his inner Henry Ford. Henry Ford was delegated.
Hey, innovator, put smart people around you. That was you do.
Yeah. Rich dad, poor dad.
That's smart. That's smart. But Scott Turner, speaking of Scott Turner, real quick, well, since we don't have the video queued, Scott Turner was curved by Trump in that video. I don't know if you saw it. Trump got all the way up in his face. Scott Turner started hitting him on his shoulder as he was shaking everyone's hand.
Yeah.
Trump turns around right in his face and go right to the next person and shake his hand. And it's the same thing that they've done
with him Daddy tomorrow.
Huh?
And he'll still call him Daddy tomorrow.
Yes. And but you know what? A lot of people say, well, man, what are we going to do about those people? Listen, those people are going to be they're going to be black facing and they're going to be in a black community, but they don't have to be of the black community. And we've had those from the beginning of time. So we're going to have them all the way clear into this world. Stop spinning on this axis. We're going to have those type of Negroes that's going to sell themselves to assimilate in white society. And there's nothing we could do about that. The only thing that we can do is what Nat Turner said when they were setting to raids of the Nat Turner Rebellion. And when they were having those secret meetings, Nat Turner, and I even got a t-shirt with this, was, Nat Turner, some of his lieutenants say, hey, what are we going to do about the house Negroes that's going to tell Master about our plan? You know what his words was? We should kill them niggas first.
I mean, look at Candace Owens trying to rebrand.
Uh-oh.
No, sis.
Don't come over here. Don't come over here.
Candace.
I haven't seen Candace Owens anything Candace Owens in a minute. What is she doing?
Because she's trying to rebrand herself, Because
she
doesn't like the way things are going.
She's trying to remember her boss fired her because she was part of Turning Point USA. And she didn't think she could be fired. I don't know why they fired her. I kind of got an idea, but it was inevitable. But she was fired by Charlie Kirk, who is a devout known racist. And sometimes when you make a deal with the devil, he comes to collect.
So, always, man.
Yeah, I'll never forgive her for what she said about George Floyd. So I don't care how many times she rebrand from today to Sunday. It'll never happen.
She's ill-informed and she speaks with a vernacular that's a soft palate for soft white nationalists to be like, yeah. Right. The National Rifle Association was created for black people to teach them how to arm themselves and shoot guns and protect against the Klan. She literally said that the NRA was formed for black people to teach them how to. That she fucking said that.
That's crazy.
Exactly.
Her close proximity to white people, i.e., her husband, is. On a topic of speaking close proximity to white people, what is going on with Yeezy and Jay-Z? Why is he doing this?
So you guys are gonna have to bring me up to speed on the Yeezy thing. The only thing I saw was him having a interview with DJ Academics with the Klan robe on. I mean, the guy's not well, and he doesn't represent us. I don't support. My son played soccer, and Adidas is one of the soccer things in soccer. I mean, you know, the shoes, and I wouldn't buy my son Yeezys. I don't buy any of his paraphernalia. I don't support the brother.
I just
he's been why very corrosive.
He goes very low if someone isn't on his side, like the way he talked about Jay-Z and Beyonce's children.
He only do that with us and Jews.
Yes, he does.
He only does that with us and Jews. Anything that can be diabolical to his own community, as far as him wearing a bomber's jacket with that's got Confederate flags on it, saying slavery was a choice. He only does that to hurt his own community, and for that, my internet Turner is speaking.
So what you think his aim is, though? Or is he just
for him? He's upset that no one will help him with his get his children or something.
Is that still what he's?
Then he's like, I didn't even want the kids with her.
He said that he take back that he wish he didn't have kids with her. Listen, let me tell you something, man. And I love my women, but I love my black women. So I will say this: you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. And when you decide that you've already known this girl's on these tapes, you know all these guys have been with her, and you decide to be with her and have kids because you think that you can change the perspective or the narrative of which she come up in, then shame on you. That already tell me that you need to be on your meds.
Hey, well, hold up though. Surprisingly, Kim Kardashian is what? She's about to get her law degree, and she's actually advocating more for the black community than Kanye is.
If you Google that, that's what's her picture's going to come up.
Yeah, she's doing
that. She speaks for. You're right. She is.
But her political views changed recently when she appeared on that magazine cover with one of Elon's robots.
Oh, I didn't see that. But Larry, you make a good point. Larry,
she's best friends with his daughter.
Would Dr. Umar give her a pass?
No,
he won't. No, because Dr. Umar is Black Queens forever, Snow Bunnies never.
Right.
I would say that would be a hard no. But back to Larry's point. This don't hurt us as a black community, but it puts us at a crossroads. We're always at a crossroads where we have to chew up the meat but spit out the bones, and we're vegetarians, right? Mm-hmm. And so Kim Kardashian has been, in some way, you can say kind of toxic for the black community, but you can argue that point.
Yeah.
But we also don't want her being a spokesperson for our community because it lessens us as a community. But you can't deny the fact that she's pushing, and she has the ear of Trump, to push legislation or to push the notion of freeing certain people because she has the power of influence. Right. And so it puts us in a place where we're always at a crossroads. You get what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is a lot of us, we were taught that Fidel Castro is a communist. Cuba is bad, Cuba. But Cuba is the only place that took in our Black Panther, put Angela Davis that I invoked it earlier, right? Yep. And there's a lot of us that exactly.
Yeah.
And even though they're coming, they treat their people like shit. They welcomed us.
Yeah.
And then when you look at the apartheid war in South Africa, they were the one arming the rebels, right? So we have this. They put us at in this crossroad. Y'all kind of feel what I'm saying? And it's I hate that we have to be in these positions where we have to be like, you know what I'm saying?
This is what Renee was speaking on last week as far as gatekeeping and how we need to protect ourselves and who we choose to let in, you know, to have access to us, you know?
Correct.
Yeah.
We don't do that enough because we're too welcoming. We're too, everybody's welcome to the proverbial cookout. Nah, fuck that. Cookout shut down.
Right.
Right. I like it. Right.
And we've been inviting too much mediocrity to the cookout. Mm-hmm. You know, you get a white person that can dance, and it's like, oh, they can dance. They're welcome to the cookout. Nah, that ain't.
Nah. So, Larry, to your point, mediocrity is accepted by Black people of whites. And because we accept their mediocrity, it makes them think that they belong on the same platform.
Yeah.
We're at the Showtime at the Apollo, and the white guy comes out and he can carry a little bit of a note, but not better than the person that just got booed off that was fully Black. And he comes in, he bells out a Luther song where he can hold the note a little bit, and they up there cheering, and we cheer the mediocrity, and it gives them a false sense that they belong. And no, you do not belong.
You don't belong, bro.
And because of the colonization of our mental, we accept those things. And so when they're doing mediocre shit at our date, like you just said, they can go in there and do the shoot a little bit on target, just a little bit, but not better than our 5-year-old who's doing it right on side of them. But because they can have a little bit of the rhythm with it, they in the cookout. And cookout, Larry. Cookout shut down.
No, shut down till further notice, man. For the next 4 years, it shut down till further notice.
That's what people say about some white athletes too. Basketball, football. They say, do we think they're good? Are really that good, or we just think they're good because they're white and they can play a little bit?
They're able to thrive, and they're good enough to thrive in that sport, but they're not good enough to sustain that sport.
No.
Right? Yeah. Because I didn't like when Dirk Nowitzki was killing LeBron and all this stuff. He was good enough to be in the sport, but he's not good enough to sustain the sport, meaning that they fire all the Black athletes in the NBA and put a bunch of Dirks in there. You're going to have an unwatched, unseasoned cooked chicken.
Yeah. Speaking of unwashed, uncooked, seasoned chicken.
Uh-oh. Where we going with this one?
A white teen unalived his parents in a plot to assassinate Trump to save the white race.
Yeah, I got to read that.
I saw it. I didn't do the deep dive on it, Renee. We're hoping that you can provide some color context for us so that
I can't, because it just doesn't make sense to me, right? Someone in the comments said that sounds like a reverse Uno card. How are you going to unalive Trump to save the white race?
So what was he going to?
Listen, the reason why that's so complex in its nature, I'm stumped on that one. I saw that and I thought it was parody, but obviously it's real life.
It's real life.
Yeah, for real.
But you know what? I don't trust them fuckers. I don't trust Trump. I don't trust his administration. I don't trust the white. I don't trust them. I don't trust them. I think a lot of this stuff, again, like that fake assassination tip, AR 556 built bullet, if it grazes you, it's taking a limb.
It's gonna hurt.
Yeah. It's gonna take some, even if it just grazes you, because of the speed and the grain of the bullet.
Yep.
Yeah. I just do not believe it, and so
I just don't understand. There's more to his story, and I think they need to get more from it. But it sounds like baby's confused, right?
Sound like he hasn't been indoctrinated with. Listen, I don't believe it's true. I believe that it's a plant story.
I believe he probably killed his parents. I believe he unalived his parents, but I don't know.
They're dead. But I think that the narrative behind it is, remember, these are the same people that taught us that Christopher Columbus discovered America when he never made it here.
Exactly.
Okay. Just remember that.
Also, I find it really weird. The Democrats' Pennsylvania governor, Josh Shapiro, he's boisterous around all of the madness that's going on with Trump and everything. And somebody jumped over a fence, did all these things, and set his house on fire.
I saw that. It didn't work out.
How did that happen?
That happened. I think that Jewish Barack Obama is what I call him. Because if y'all listen to him, he has Barack's cadence.
Damn.
He sounds, if you close your eyes, you would think he was Barack. I think that he was on a rise. I don't know if that's staged. Of course it's not, because if you look at the house burned the fuck down.
Still can be staged.
No, I'm just saying that Josh Shapiro is going to be in the 2028 election.
Mm-hmm. He's running.
Along with West, I'm hoping Wes Moore get in, throw his hat into the ring. But he knows, even though he has a cadence of Obama, he does not have the charisma of Wes Moore.
Yeah.
And
why are they doing these things so early? I mean, it's only we're only 4 months in.
So you think it was fake, Renee?
I don't
think it was fake, but I feel like there's somebody on the inside giving out information, because that's just, you allow all of this to, like, you knew where he lived, you knew how to jump a fence, you knew how to, you know what I mean? It's too much detail, granular detail.
And why is he targeted? He's not passing policy. He's not out there being vocal.
He did oppose Trump.
The only thing that I can tell you, the only thing I can tell
about Trump. That's it.
Yeah, he's vocal about Trump. The only thing that he lost me, you know where he lost me? He was at one of our military plants, and those bombs that was going to Israel, he signed one of those bombs to be dropped on the Palestinians in the Gaza. It was meant to go, I guess, for the Hamas in the Gaza that's hiding behind Palestine. But he signed that. He signed that bomb when it was sent, and he lost me with that.
He did back in February. He blocked one of Trump's. Was it a hiring freeze or it was something? The federal.
Well, he can only do that in his state. He can't do that.
Yeah, he did it in the state. He did it in the state. Yeah, he blocked that in his state. But it was like I can't remember what it was. It was either like some type of funding, or it was a hiring freeze, the federal hiring freeze.
Well, with all of the different federal layoffs and everything, each state is suing on their people's behalf. So they can move it towards whatever direction they choose. Like California is way ahead, right? They're way ahead. They're still fighting for their federal employees. But California has different employment laws anyway. So that's a whole different subject. But I just think it's so early for the madness, and it makes me think, what else is going to happen?
What the guy
who makes me think, KP, of what's going to happen to one of our most boisterous Democrats, and I'm
scared of who. I don't want to invoke her name because I don't want to put that into the universe.
I'm not putting it out there.
I pray God's protection over her, and I ain't gonna lie to you guys. If I was retired and I had a source of income to come in, I would reach out to that person and say, "Listen, I want to protect you, Queen." And put me on your detail, and let me be one of these crash outs for you, because I would love to get my hands on one of these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying?
That'd be a YN over there.
I'll be a ON.
I love that.
We need to invoke the ONs.
We talk so much about Black people and DEI. I think it's only right that we, RIP to Sean Johnson. He was the pilot that flew the helicopter over the Hudson, and it crashed. He was actually
last weekend. That was last weekend.
He's actually an ex-Navy SEAL. People don't care about that.
So why are people saying he's a DI hire? What do you mean?
Black face.
Because he's Black.
Yeah,
I know. Well,
they put that out there. Candace Owens was the biggest. What was her comment? Oh, I would never. I wouldn't trust a Black. Or I would never let a Black pilot fly me.
Which is so. Here's where I have a problem with that, Renee. And my stomach turned when I started seeing photos of this pilot late last week. Because for the most part, when these helicopters crash, even the one that crashed there in DC, you didn't see pictures of these pilots, right? Even the Black Hawks that are crashing in training, that's here in the United States and Arizona, a couple of these things throughout the years, you never see the pilots. And when I started seeing the pictures of this pilot that he was Black, I knew immediately it's the media. So I think that is intentional. And I think that the media is culpable. So remember, we were talking about Trump burning down these organizations. One of them I hope that he does burn down is the media, because the media is the ones that when our Black kids are hung in a tree, they show a mugshot of this kid.
Right.
Rather than, you get what I'm saying? And so when I started seeing this, I got trouble, and I was like, you know what? This is good old America for you. You know, it is trying to feed the beast. And the beast is DEI equals black, and DEI equals incompetent. DEI equals, hey, you was given this with less credentialing, which is so far from the fucking truth. That is, but you know what the stats are in commercial liners that crash and take people's lives? I think it's like they did a study from the 70s to now, and it was like, I'll just give you the short facts. None of them were black. None of the commercial pilots that crashed any of these planes.
Right.
I think 83 of them were white men and the other 14 were white women. And prior to this helicopter crash, which is not would be considered commercial in a sense, but it was tourism commercial, but it wasn't commercial that's regulated highly by the FAA because they're private. The reason why this helicopter probably crashed was the cost is maintenance. It had flown its 6th mission of the day, and a lot of people that are familiar with that helicopter said that helicopter should have not flown. It had flown too many times throughout the course of the time, so it was mechanical error rather than pilot error. You have to understand. There's videos that the propeller dislocated itself. Yeah, that's not pilot error.
Right. About that because they're like the pilot should have checked it because they're only basing things off of. A lot of people are basing it off what you see. If you go to the airport, right, and you're looking out the window prior to boarding, what do you see? You see the pilot walking around, right? The pilot's looking at the plane.
Doing check.
They're doing their check, but these are standard checks. But we all know that compliance and safety issues, it comes from FAA and.
But they don't fall under it. That's the thing, Renee. Yeah. That particular agency did not fall under that.
But there's still compliance check. He can't see that the
no, exactly right.
The propeller is going to fall off, right? But again, they're basing it off of what they see at an airport. You know what I mean? Even pilots at an airport, they're just walking around and they're saying, "Oh, there's a crack right there. There might be a problem."
Yeah, they ain't jumping on the wing.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. In the spirit of American conspiracies, this was a very influential man with his family, and this was a black pilot. Do you don't think that there could have been some foul play with that?
You know what, Larry brought it up, and I said, what a coincidence.
Yeah, I saw some clips on something. They
look how many boxes you check off. You have this influential person that probably want to be targeted. He probably wanted to sell his company. I don't know the backstory, and then they'd be like, "Whoa, he's got a black pilot."
Right.
We can kill 2 birds with 1 stone with this.
Oh man.
Oh, you took it deeper than what Larry was talking about. I didn't think about that, but it's something to think about. You know,
Navy SEAL ain't no joke, man. They don't just let anybody, become a SEAL. It's real training. You got to know your stuff.
I mean,
there was a guy on Instagram.
Not only that, to be a pilot, right?
Yeah, that too. Yeah, for real.
It was a guy on Instagram.
You can't go to 7-Eleven and get a pilot's license.
Huh?
Hell no.
You can't go to 7-Eleven and get a pilot's license.
No. What did you say, Leon? Go ahead.
It was a guy on Instagram. I thought I must didn't put it in the chat. He had broke. I thought maybe Renee, you didn't put anything in
the pilot that broke it down. All of the requirements and training that they have to go through to be a pilot.
Not that. It was a guy who was breaking down that CEO guy. The guy.
Oh, okay. That's what I want to know.
He was breaking down different things that went on with the company. With other and he was just I forgot what it was about something like what you were just saying, KP. I wish I could find that.
TB continues later, man. Also, I got some happier news too that we're gonna end with, but we'll bring that up. We'll discuss that. I want to talk about, jobs, right? Jobs, people are being laid off left and right. People are being asked to come back. And then it's like, oh, sorry, you're laid off again.
About to reopen. Well, yeah, go ahead.
So I was scrolling on LinkedIn this morning. Every time I wake up, I know it's going to be a message. It's either going to be it's going to be a text from Larry in the group chat. It's going to be a text from one of my girls in my other group chat. And then I'm going to scroll LinkedIn because it's going to be something because I stay on LinkedIn. But I was scrolling LinkedIn and someone did an analysis on the most 15 in-demand skills for 2025 that I thought was interesting, right? And I think I should call it out because, we still have some audience people that are probably going to school, in school, want to go back to school and figure out what is going to keep them in their job, since AI is taking over a lot of things, right? We see that. The first one, AI literacy. I think we knew that, right? We discussed A1 literacy, and we know it's important, right? A1 is very important. Conflict mitigation.
Wow.
What was that?
I like that.
Conflict mitigation.
I think that used to be called conflict resolution.
Is that more like a mediator?
Yeah, basically.
Like would that fall under HR?
I wouldn't think so. No.
Or is that somebody you hire outside of the company? Like if you guys aren't getting along, right? And then there's some team building isn't working because don't nobody trust each other, so we can't fall in backwards, and I don't trust the person behind me that's gonna catch me. You know, they
definitely sound like consulting.
It sounds like consulting where you hire me to come in and I figure it out. That's number 2, adaptability.
I didn't know that was a job.
Yeah, adaptability. I'm looking at that.
That's crazy. Well, you know what? People don't like change.
Right.
I mean,
you have a problem with change. You have the boomers. You have, the generation prior to that. They don't want to move. They don't want to leave. They don't like change, and they are loyal to the company. But they're loyal to their position, and they don't want to. As we evolve, they don't want to evolve.
I'm gonna be honest. I think adaptability is good short term. It's not good long term. And the reason why I fell into that throughout my career, I was a jack of all trades, a master of none. And the thing is that it's very good for you short term. But if you stay there too long and you master nothing, you will just be a jack of all trades.
Oh yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Oh yeah. A black VP told me that. He told me, he's like, you gotta get up and go.
You gotta master something. If you want to get to the higher echelons, master something.
I worked for a job for 13 years and had 7 different roles.
Oh my God.
I wasn't playing.
That's the Jamaican shit right there.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Process optimization.
That sounds like Six Sigma, where you can break processes down and optimize them like the best. I've seen a couple of like that though. That's to be honest with you, that's a little bit of project management right there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, would that fall under project management? Yeah. Innovative thinking.
I think that's a good one.
That's These titles are so like,
Again, it could be because people don't like change, right?
They changing these titles up. I can tell you that.
Oh, they still are.
That's like a homemaker or a stay-at-home mom calling herself a domestic engineer.
I mean, listen, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it.
But innovative thinker is crazy though. But I mean, I guess
public speaking.
Yeah, that'll never go away.
Yeah, that's been around for a long time.
That's a skill. I mean, and also they have things like what's the training that they help you with public speaking? What's that called?
Toastmasters, yeah.
Toastmasters, yes. Yeah. I dibbled in that a little bit, but I didn't have time.
Oh,
they put me on blast and I never went back again.
Hey, that's how you get your skills up.
Yeah.
Solution-based selling.
Solution.
I mean, that kind of
that's kind of like some of the top ones y'all just said. Solution-based selling.
Maybe like processes and everything to make something better. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like I said, number 4.
Once you have a good industry and you know how what moves and shakes in that industry, I look at something like that, like high level shit.
Yeah. So we have this system that reads your everything that you do, right? It doesn't show like what's on the internet. It'll just say like internet, but it looks at your productivity throughout the day, right? And we can't use it against anyone, but it shows your day, right? And it was supposed to be a solution-based system to show like what it's supposed to prove or provide management with. Is this particular app or system that we're using, is it useful, right? How many times a day are people using it? Is it really necessary to do a job function? or are we just paying for this particular program for no reason?
Yeah, that's optimization.
So would that be solution-based selling? Somebody sold us a system that
yeah, for sure. Yeah, 100%. That's why you get a lot of CRMs, the customer relations management tools. They are
very big brother to me, but that's another topic for another day.
I mean, it has a little bit of big brother in it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If it's checking on your activity, then that's crazy.
Customer engagement and support, customer service.
Yeah, that's pretty simple.
That's a clerk.
Yeah,
but this thing says 15 in-demand skills.
Stakeholder management.
That is a note taker at the management.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Executive assistant.
That's who's taking the minutes.
Yeah.
So wait, the way KP you responded, you saying it seemed like you saying these skills shouldn't be in demand.
No, nobody wants to do it. So
nobody wants to do it. So that's why they're in demand. Large language model. I don't know what that is.
What is that?
Large language model.
That's along the lines of training AI.
Okay.
Yeah.
A1 training A1. It's like development and application. I don't know.
Yeah, basically.
Budget and resource management.
That's just
CFO.
Strategic buying.
You're an accountant.
Who?
I mean, budget.
I think that's your
budget and resource buying is just
your chief financial officer, the CFOs.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be sourcing. It could be a part of the sourcing program.
When I was in the military, we have there's a department called S2 or supply, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And they would handle budget and resources and things like that.
So supply chain?
Yeah, supply chain. Yeah.
I mean,
so you're looking for a job and you using us to kind of suss this out.
Yes, somebody else might need it. What's a go-to market strategist?
So are y'all saying
that can be trusted, that has a good history, a track record of being successful?
So are y'all saying these skills are in demand? Nobody wants to do them. So do they pay good?
I think they're saying don't waste your time on anything else. These are the skills that are in demand right now.
I think these are very, very, very specific jobs. You can work these in the company, but you can also go entrepreneurial with these. You can also go solo with these.
So
like a go-to-market strategist is like with Leon with MPL4 clothing brand, and he hired a go-to-market strategist who sets up, how do we market this better type of thing.
Right. Like they would set it up to where your market would be over and beyond. So not only across the United States, but over across the pond in China, back to China where you're getting them from. So you reselling them back to them.
Right. Yep. Or they'll probably send you to a book called How to Sell to the Negro.
I sell to everybody.
Yes. Well, speaking of budget, I do want to leave on a happier note, and it was a conversation we had.
Wait, before you go to that, what you had for me? You said you had something for me.
That's funny. I can definitely leave that after this. We can lead on.
Okay. All right.
Carmelo Anthony, the young man who had the $1 million bail, the highest of all of
Texas. What did they reduce it to?
They reduced it to $250,000. He is
out. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I told y'all. Now y'all want to listen to me. Y'all wouldn't listen to me last week.
What did you say,
Byron? I said they
Down?
Reduce it. Y'all said no. Y'all said no. They reduce it.
Wait, he didn't name you 45 million different names.
Well, I told y'all they was gonna reduce that. They wasn't gonna keep that in no million. I told y'all no, they are. No, they gonna keep that.
They were making a statement. They were making.
I mean, to me, the $1 million was too long. He shouldn't have been in there. He's been in there for about 3 weeks.
But that's what
he needs to be. Listen, he needs to be released with no charges.
Right.
Yeah, definitely that.
Yeah. But he's out. He's with his family.
That's
good. So, that's good. And he comes from a good crop. So, we can definitely
that's good. I'm glad he's out.
Provide an update on that note. Now, before we leave KP and Larry. So Leon posted a snippet of the Impel Forward on our Facebook.
Okay.
And I reshared it and everything. and I just happened to get a couple text messages. One text message was, "Who was that chocolate man with the hat on?"
Oh, cut the video. Cut the video. Cut the video.
And I said, they already know Leon. And I said, Larry? Yeah, who's that man?
I plead the fifth.
I said, I don't know Larry's business. That's, but you have some admirers. I think that's great.
Well, I appreciate the admirers. Yes. Unfortunately, I'm off the market. So.
We know. And Mr. KP.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know KP. He used to live in our subdivision.
Oh,
and I said, wow.
HOA.
So I said, I've never met KP in person. This person says, yes, you did. He's came to both of my birthday parties 2 years in a row. You guys are in the same room and didn't even recognize it.
That is crazy.
Small. I'm moving.
Small world.
That is crazy, man. That means that I'm just not that memorable. That's all that means.
The word was my fine looking ex neighbor.
Oh, she said that.
Was I cutting his hair then?
Yeah, you was cutting my hair.
I was cutting your hair.
Yeah, hey, you're responsible for that.
That's another $50 on my tip.
Oh my God, because I said I've never met them, either one. I told both individuals I've never met either one in person, and they were like, "Yes, yeah, you have." You, KP, apparently we've crossed each other in the midst of me being outside.
Close the door.
I can't believe she said that to you, but
you know who I'm talking about?
I know exactly who you're talking about. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Let me find out.
That's how she referred to me every time she introduced me to somebody. She was like, "This is my fine ass neighbor."
Damn, what?
It was like, you got to stop telling people that.
I love that. That was great. But yeah, I didn't know. And look, just know you guys have admirers, and I think it's great.
Okay. All right, that's what's up.
I think it's great.
That's good, man. Listen, if we got to be, if me and Larry got to be eye candy to build a brand, make me the sacrificial lamb.
You know what I'm saying?
Make me the sacrificial
one
lamb.
Of my friends asked about.
Listen, anything for the blacks.
One of my friends asked about what Leon. We had to talk about it. One of my friends asked about Leon, and I said he was fine or whatever. And I said, "Girl, he's married." And what did Leon say? Well, does that make me less fine? I said, "A little bit."
Let the man get his. Listen, Leon want to smell some flowers too. Let him smell them. You got to take them home because they're gonna get thrown out.
No.
We can at least smell them.
I'm the home girl through and through. I pride myself on being that. But I just thought it was great that you post something and automatically, I'm getting messages and text messages. And
nothing about our content, nothing about our conversations.
I mean,
they was watching the video on mute.
Us girls, we want to get to the tea first. We got to get to the tea first, and then the content comes after. But
the tea to that tea there.
Was that what you drinking tea?
Yeah.
Yep, lifted.
I'm all out of my tea. My tea is done.
We got Larry to drinking on camera.
Did we miss anything? Skip anything?
Not that I know of. I think we definitely did a great job of hitting all the topics.
I have some more questions for y'all on the next episode.
Oh goodness.
That's what's up.
No, I'm serious about that. I'm always trying to understand. So
yes, but I challenge you to watch the 13th Amendment.
I heard about that a couple of years ago. I ain't never watched it, so I might check it out.
Leon, honestly,
I don't think that will answer what I'm trying to find out.
I think Leon, what I think it would do from how much I know you. I think that you will glean. You will walk away from there with less. You will walk away from there with less answers. I mean, less questions and more answers to some of the things that you've asked. And listen, there's a part of it. The 13th is off the 13th Amendment, and how although slavery was abolished, it was rectified in the 13th Amendment through not even coded language. Is pure as day. And that's what we as Black Americans should be afraid of more than anything, is the enforcement of these laws and not the naming of these laws. It's the enforcement that makes it dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I would agree. So I challenge you.
Yeah, but that's my main question. What can be done? What will be done? What has been done?
They talk about it in there. That's why KP said a lot of your questions would be answered.
How? Have they been answered for y'all yet?
Hey, you ain't watched it, don't you? Can't say how.
I'm asking y'all. Have they been answered for y'all yet?
Some of the stuff was just affirmation and some revelation.
Yeah,
and that's what you should go into it expecting to affirm some of the things that you've already known. But it's solidified by documentation and what we would call in the Black community receipts.
Definitely.
Larry, you down with me?
What's good?
You down with me, Larry?
I guess we want to go watch this shit together.
Larry wouldn't give his vote to Trump.
Hey, I didn't either. Right. I gave my votes to the blacks before I gave it to Trump.
What did somebody always have to be on the show? Somebody has to always be the what?
The villain.
Hey, look, I gave my.
He's trying to drag Larry over there with him, but
hey, at least I voted for somebody.
Yeah, I can't do it, bro. Can't do it. I don't trust none of them.
Me either, Larry. I don't either.
The spirit.
Well, there you have it for another episode of the Impel Ford Podcast. Remember, seize the opportunity to grasp your dreams. Peace.
Peace.